You can get this product and so much more at www.safariltd.com. And don't forget to use the coupon code SpinoDude to save 15% on your next order and show your support for the channel. Greetings, hello ladies and gentlemen, and today I have the pleasure of sharing with you the new for 2021 Safari Ltd Daspletosaurus. Now, as far as predicting future Tyrannosaurs for the Safari range, I was expecting them to do Albertosaurus next. But they surprised us and went with Daspletosaurus. Very welcome addition to the range, particularly because there are no Daspletosaurus figures out there to my knowledge. And this is one of my new favorite theropod figures from Safari ever made. I love this thing so much. First of all, when I pulled this out of the packaging, it has such a triumphant pose that just speaks, I am a Tyrannosaur, I am a tyrant lizard. Look at me, stake claim to my territory. And it's pretty well balanced. I could see how some of these in future replication of this particular sculpt could have stability issues. And if you look at the toe on the right foot here, facing the outside of the model, I feel like this could be splayed out a bit more to help prevent that, but it's really not too bad. And this might fall into the same realm as the Tyrannosaurus, where some of them are more stable than others, but overall they're pretty consistent with stability. I guess another thing that stood out to me when I pulled it out is the coloration. Once again, very warm colors. A lot of Safari dinosaurs, or most of Safari's dinosaurs as of late, have been very warm in coloration, but I really like this one because it's not just, you know, straight yellow or straight orange or whatever, or straight brown. It's a nice sort of Spanish orange with a creamy yellow underbelly, and then you have this really dark forest green brought in on the top. The banding going down the legs and the tail reminds me of the 2019 Allosaurus a little bit, but in this particular production sample, the striping looks a bit more consistent than some Allosaurus copies that I've seen, but that is subject to change once this figure starts to be duplicated. Another thing that is really nice about this figure is the scalation detail. Very similar to previous Safari figures, but there are some really nice groupings of larger scales brought in, if you can see them on the midsection there particularly. There is a slightly glossy finish to the paint, so my light might be catching it in the wrong way here a bit. But the scales overall look really nice. Definitely pretty proportional to the scale that this model was produced at. There you can see the arms, which Daspletosaurus is known for having slightly longer forelimbs than other Tyrannosaurs. And that was actually the giveaway for this one on the website when we all saw the silhouette. We were like, oh, that's a Daspletosaurus then, after doing some brief research, because the hint said that this dinosaur had slightly longer arms in proportion to its larger and more famous cousin. So there are the arms, those look really nice. One of my favorite parts of this is the midsection. Now, Safari has produced a lot of shrink-wrapped dinosaurs in the past, and then in 2019 they delivered us a lot of kind of overweight dinosaurs, with the Carnotaurus especially, and the Allosaurus, which is a little bit on the thick side. And this Daspletosaurus, I think, is a perfect meld between those two. Like, they found the perfect common ground here. Just that bulge in the midsection makes me so happy there. It's nice and sleek around the hips, and then you have a really nice bulky base to the tail. Shows how muscular and powerful the tail was for balancing this robust animal out. And then the legs, of course, have great toned musculature in them. And if we move down to the feet, this was a pleasant surprise as well. There is a lack of bird-like scaling going down the toes here, which is a great improvement because it is thought that theropods like Daspletosaurus and other Tyrannosaurs wouldn't have had bird-like scales running down their toes and instead just had very heavily padded feet. And I do think that the feet could use a little bit more padding here maybe, but they still look really good, and it is great to see that Safari is experimenting with newer theories in the paleontology community. Another thing I forgot to mention on the arms is I do think maybe the upper shoulder area could be a little more beefed out, especially transitioning into the upper arm there. But now let's move on to my favorite part of the overall sculpt, which is the head. Really great to see another open-mouthed theropod from Safari. And this one has teeth. Beautifully sculpted teeth overall. I think they look really nice for the size of this figure. Oh, and my other favorite part of this figure is the blue eye against the warmer colors. Just that piercing cold blue against the warm Spanish orange and pale yellows. Just looks really nice and striking, and definitely brings attention to the head, even though the color scheme doesn't break up too much between the head and the rest of the body. Now, just based on the head sculpt here, I'm going to guess that it was the intention of the sculptor to base this off of Daspletosaurus horneri rather than Daspletosaurus torosus, mainly because of the larger squared out scales running down the snout. The sculpt work on the scalation on the head looks fantastic here, and I also appreciate the inclusion of lips on this Daspletosaurus as well, but the Daspletosaurus is pulling its lips back to show its menacing teeth off. The interior of the mouth is sculpted and painted in a nice fleshy pink color. There is some really nice detailing on the roof of the mouth, if you can even see in there, hopefully. And the throat goes back pretty far, which is really nice for the overall size of this figure. But inside the bottom jaw here doesn't look too detailed. I feel like there could have been a little bit more done there, but it's not the end of the world. I've seen worse. And yes, I think that really covers my overall thoughts on this Daspletosaurus here. Alright, so if you're wondering how large this Daspletosaurus is in terms of the length from the tip of the tail to the tip of the snout, we are looking at just about 9 inches, which is about 22 centimeters, and in terms of the height at the highest point, which is the top of the head, we are looking at about 4 3/4 inches, which is about 12 centimeters. And for comparison, here is this year's Tyrannosaur from Safari, which is their Tyrannosaurus. This previously was my favorite Tyrannosaur from Safari Ltd, but the Daspletosaurus has deranked it as my new favorite. I just adore the pose and just having its mouth agape, showing off really well sculpted teeth there as well. And I just love the colors, even though they feel more typical the more I've been sitting with them as far as recent Safari figures go. I just really like the color mix with that really dark green going down the back of the animal. And I think these two complement each other really nicely. They both have really nice colors, and it helps show the diversity of overall body styles between Tyrannosaurs back in the Cretaceous. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this review of the Safari Ltd 2021 Daspletosaurus. Massive thank you to Safari for setting this review up. Thank you to my contact Chris for sending this over to me early for review. If you want to get this figure for yourself, it is not available quite yet. The release date is to be determined because of everything going on in the world, of course. But I'm gonna go ahead and say, just like the Spinosaurus, maybe around January, but just don't get your hopes up because there is a lot going on, and Safari is working hard to get these into their warehouse to send out to all of you. So I definitely recommend this one, guys. One of the best Tyrannosaur figures out on the market currently. And thank you all so much for watching this video. Once it comes out, if you want to get it for yourself, use coupon code SpinoDude. Save 15% on your next order. That's all for now, guys. Take care, and bye-bye.